Power outages suck. Now, usually, people who live in areas with lots of outages use fuel generators as a solution. Now, these generators aren't great. They smell, they're loud, they're not great for children, and they need fuel. Now, since for me the problem is very relevant, recently I've been looking into solar generators. So let's explore them a bit together and see if they are as good at powering your home as classic generators. Now let's start with the obvious, shall we? What is a solar generator? Well, it's basically two things: solar panels, one or several, and a power station. A power station combines in itself a battery, an inverter that turns direct current from panels into alternating current for your devices, and a charge controller. A controller adjusts the voltage coming from panels to a safe level for the battery. A power station itself is a plastic or metal box. The smallest ones are the size of a toolkit, and the larger ones are similar in size to a PC system unit. So what do you do with it? Well, you can take a small solar generator like this with you on a trip. A generator will function as a large rechargeable power bank. It's a good thing to have if you travel by boat or an RV. Power banks are usually 20 to 30 watt hours in capacity, which is enough, for example, to recharge your smartphone from 0 to 100 one time. Power stations generally start from about 200 watt hours in terms of capacity, so they become very useful if you have a lot of stuff that needs power with you. Okay, but can you use a solar generator at home as a protection from power outages? Well, technically, yes. All power stations can be used as uninterrupted power supply. You can ask an electrician to install a plug and a power board for the generator and hook the power station to it in case of a power failure. Now, bear in mind that you'll need a transfer switch in between that disconnects your house from the grid and switches it to an alternative power supply. Now, the problem that I was interested in the most was not whether it works in theory, but whether a solar generator is big enough to keep the house powered. The size of one power station ranges from 200 watt hours to somewhere around 6 kilowatt hours. But is it enough? Well, an average American house requires about 30 kilowatt hours per day. More than half of it goes to heating the water and heating or cooling the house. Of course, if you're having a power outage and have to switch to battery support, you watch where your energy goes and limit its use to only the essentials. A fridge, for example, requires about 1 to 2 kilowatt hours a day. A Wi-Fi router, which is pretty much something you want on at all times, needs only about 150 watt hours per day. Now, if you're interested in numbers like this, I encourage you to go to our A1 magazine, and there are plenty of articles on how much energy a house needs. Most power outages in the US only last a couple of minutes. The statistics say that throughout the year, homeowners average about 3 to 6 hours of power interruptions, depending on the state. Now, let's say you have to sit without power for 1 hour. Throughout this time, if you're not turning on anything energy consuming, the house would need 1 to 2 kilowatt hours tops. So the way I see it, at the moment, a power station can be a nice small backup option. Now, if you're using it as a home battery, you can set a solar array in the yard to recharge it, or plug it into a socket once the power is restored. Okay, but now what's the downside of these power generators then? Well, if you live in a place where power outages are long and constant, or you're going off grid, then a single power station just doesn't cut it anymore. It just won't have enough capacity to run your house for hours. It constantly has to be recharged, you see. A solar generator includes portable solar panels, but usually their power output is too small to meet the needs of your home, and they don't recharge the station fast enough. You can connect a station to a rooftop solar system. The power output of most stations is usually very limited. For example, if you connect a 5 kilowatt solar system to a power station, it'll only be able to use 1 kilowatt from it. Plus, most power stations are just too small to power energy-intensive appliances, something like a heater or an AC, for example. Now, of course, there are exceptions. For example, the brand EcoFlow offers Delta Pro Ultra power station, which is designed as a whole home backup power. It comes with a separate inverter, which gives it high solar input and energy rating to power anything in your home, and it sort of makes it similar to a home battery system. The capacity is 6 kilowatt hours, but you can stack several units to build an energy bank of up to 90 kilowatt hours. In fact, many brands offer stacking design for a larger backup, but personally I'm not a huge fan of it. Because first, when you get multiple units instead of one, it's not pretty. It's unnecessarily complicated, and it makes the system more vulnerable. Second, the whole idea of a solar generator being portable is lost when it becomes a home battery. And third, it just gets really expensive. In my opinion, if you need a large battery bank, or if you're going off grid, get a home battery like a Powerwall or any of the alternatives that I've looked at in a separate video. A home battery system has more capacity per unit. It's going to be cheaper in terms of cost per kilowatt hour, and it's more reliable and long-lasting. Home batteries get warranties for 5 to 10 years, whereas for power stations, 5 years of warranty is usually the limit. So let me sum this up. Solar generators are a solid power backup option for your house when all you need is protection from short power outages from time to time. They're a great choice if you're a traveler and you need power supply for a boat or trailer and you want something bigger than a power bank. I would say that solar generators aren't a great choice when you experience long power outages at home. You need lots of energy without having to rely on power connection, or you're going completely off grid. In this situation, the alternative to a fuel generator is a full-on solar installation with a home battery system, and not a solar generator, or the way I see it at least. The largest and most advanced models of PV generators became very similar to a home battery system, but frankly I fail to see the appeal. It just seems to me like a home battery just does the same job better and cheaper. That is of course just my perspective, and I'd love to hear what you think. If you've gone off grid, let us know in the comments how exactly you went about establishing the power supply. As always, I encourage you to subscribe and check our magazines, our socials, and of course, A1 Solar Store. I'm Jason, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.